The film opens on a stormy night as a young woman named Tess Marshall arrives at an Airbnb that she booked at 467 Barb Road but American Samoa. She tries to check in, she cannot find the house key or get in touch with whoever booked her before she takes off. She sees a light turn on in the house and she rings the bell. Then a man named Keith Toko answers and he says he booked the house as well since they cannot reach the bookers. Keith welcomes Tess to stay while they tried to get things. While sitting inside the house, Tess tries to find a hotel to stay, but is unable to book a hotel anywhere else. So she takes a shower and is welcomed by Keith to share a bottle of. Then they have a conversation and Tess clarifies herself that she's meeting with a filmmaker named Bonnie Zane for a job interview. Keith says he has seen her final film in spite of Tess, considering no one else would have seen it till now. They then talk for a little while and bond for a bit before getting to bed during the night. Tess wakes up to catch Keith gasping in his sleep, likely due to night. She tries to wake him up, but closes up, startling both of them. Keith denies anything is wrong the following day. Tess goes for her interview as she steps outside of the door. She is shocked to see that all the other houses surrounding the Airbnb appear deserted and broken down. Tess then goes to meet Bonnie at the restaurant. The interview goes well until Tess tells Bonnie where she is staying. Bonnie warns her to get out of that house as soon as. When Tess returns to the house, a man named Andre runs after her and tells her to get out of the house immediately. Although a bit frightened, Tess goes about her trade and ends up going down toward the cellar. Then the entryway locks behind her and she has left her phone on the kitchen table. She, at that point, finds a rope joined to the wall, and finds a secret entrance to a tunnel. Despite a few introductory hesitance, Tess goes into the tunnel for a. Then she comes across a room with a bed, a camera, and a wicked handprint on the wall, as well as a staircase going further down, causing her to freak out. After that, she runs back to the cellar and sees Keith outside. So she asks him to help get her out of the cellar. Later, Tess explains to Keith what she saw and says they have to get out of there. Keith tries to console her that there's nothing serious down there. So he goes to check it out. After a while, Tess goes searching for Keith and she walks down the stair. She hears Keith shouting and calling for offer assistance. Tess finds him in the burrow and he says something bit him before they can run. A shocking bear humanoid enormity. The mother shows up and crushes Keith's head until he is dead before she roars at Tess. The next scene opens an undisclosed amount of time later. Screenwriter A.J. Gilbride is driving. When he gets a call from his colleagues, they tell him he is being dropped from their recent project because a lady is charging that A.J. rap. He keeps up his innocence, but even his accountant drops him from representation. A.J. afterward goes out with a friend, all but outright conceding that he forced the lady into sex. A.J. afterward goes out of state to the house he is renting, which happens to moreover be the same Barber house. He arrives at house and finds Tess's luggage before going into the cellar to explore. In the cellar, he is found and chased by the mother, and he falls into a pit where Tess is being kept. The next scene jumps back to sometime in the 80s when Barb Road was full of inhabitants living a normal life. Then a man named Frank, who lives in the same Barb house, goes to a store to get child items. He, at that point, spots a young lady and takes after her back to her house. He then dresses as a man from the electric company to get inside her house and open her washroom window. When he returns home, his neighbor Doug tells Frank that he and his wife are going to sell their house. Then the movie comes back to the present inside the pit where Tess tells AJ to be quiet and calm down. The mother then lowers a baby bottle down into the pit, which Tess drinks from, but AJ refuses to drink. The mother then enters the pit and treats Tess like her child, but she growls and shrieks toward AJ later, ten. AJ somehow managed to climb out of the pit and start to create their way out. But AJ is left behind and caught in a room where the mother forces him to breastfeed off her. Tess then oversees to break the window to the cellar and is pulled out by Andre before the mother can reach her. Andre tries to take Tess to safety, saying the mother walks outside of the house at nighttime, but she insists on going back to help AJ. Later Tess calls the cops, but when they arrive, they accept that she may be a strung-out FE. Due to her disheveled appearance, she then brings them to the house, but since she has no proof that there's any evidence of a wrongdoing, the cops leave. Tess holds up until it gets dark to break into the house and get her. When she gets into her car, the mother emerges and tries to break into Tess's car, but she drives into the side of the house to undertake and slaughter the mother, but the mother didn't die. It just knocks her out. In the meantime, AJ has made his way into a room where he finds Frank bedridden and near to passing. He sees a few tapes that Frank has kept of the ladies he has assaulted over the years. Then AJ calls him out for how debilitated he is in. Frank pulls out a weapon and shoots himself in. AJ grabs his weapon and goes out of the room. Meanwhile, Tess is also down there and calls out to him, but AJ gets scared and pulls the trigger. Tess is shot in the guts, but AJ helps her get out of the house. When they get outside, Tess sees that the mother isn't where she initially was. Then she tells AJ that she knows where they can run to. Tess brings AJ down by the water where Andre told her to go for safety. Andre explains to them that Frank owned the house and was most likely the source that booked the. He would kidnap women and assault them, producing children that he would also assault, and the mother could be a product of perverted assault that has been in the house for over 40 years, although confident that she cannot find them. Andre is rapidly proven wrong when the mother rises and tears his arm off, then beats him to passing with it. Tess and AJ then run for safety and make their way up a water. But the chaotic moment led AJ to drops the weapon fair. As the mother begins catching up to them, AJ considers he can recover himself and save both of them. So he grabs Tess and throws her off the tower, knowing the mother will instinctively go after her baby. AJ then goes down of the water tower and sees the mother apparently dead. Just as he tries to justify his actions to Tess, the mother springs back up and gouges AJ's eyes out with her thumbs before splitting his head. The mother at that point crawls over to help Tess and tells her to go back to the cellar. But Tess gets scared and grabs the weapon. She has a little remorse on her face before pulling the trigger. Tess then gets up and walks out of the zone to get some medical help. So that's the end of our movie. If you've come this far, make sure to give a thumbs up and subscribe my channel. See you later.